Have you ever felt it? The moment you walk into a room, the entire atmosphere seems to hold its breath. Before a single word is spoken, conversations falter, postures subtly straighten, and the very air thickens with an unspoken awareness of your arrival. This is not your imagination. It is the undeniable signature of your presence, an energy that announces you long before you speak. The great psychoanalyst Carl Jung once said, "The psyche transcends the body," a profound acknowledgement that we are far more than just flesh and bone. You are a field of energy, a living vibration, a presence that can be felt. When that energy is potent and aligned with truth, you do not merely enter a space, you disrupt it, awaken it, and challenge it to become more real. Do you ever feel like you are speaking a language that no one else understands, not just in words, but in feelings? Do you find that small talk is more than just boring, it's physically draining? A static that suffocates your soul? If you've ever felt profoundly out of place, as if people react to you for reasons they can't articulate, this message serves as your validation. Perhaps you were never meant to fit into rooms. You were born to transform them. This isn't about being loud or aggressive. It's about being so profoundly and unapologetically authentic that everything inauthentic in your vicinity begins to crumble. You silently expose the counterfeit and inspire the genuine to rise. Here are 13 signs that your aura is not just ordinary. It's electric, disruptive, and undeniably powerful. Number 1. Your presence is loud. Even in silence. Imagine you walk into a room buzzing with the low hum of scattered conversations. Before your foot has completely crossed the threshold, you feel it is subtle yet instantaneous change in the atmosphere. The ambient chatter does not cease, but its texture alters. The pitch shifting as if a new instrument has joined the orchestra, one whose sound is felt rather than heard. The air itself seems to gain weight, growing dense and heavy with a new awareness. This is not your imagination. No grand announcement is made. No one turns to greet you or even says your name. Yet, you notice the subconscious ripples of your arrival. Conversations may hesitate for a brief moment. People adjust their posture without realizing it, their spines straightening as if in unconscious deference. Eyes that were glazed over with social fatigue now hold a flicker of focus, subtly turning toward you not because of your clothes or your status, but because of something far more profound and more unspoken. This is the signature of actual presence. You'd need to speak or explain yourself, because when your energy is powerfully aligned, your silence is more resonant than the most articulate noise. It is a silence that is not empty, but full, charged with the calm authority of someone at peace with their core. People feel you long before they hear you. They sense something different, something profoundly honest. And it's a presence that needs no external approval to exist. This phenomenon occurs because your psyche, your very aura, enters the space with an authority that precedes your physical steps. It doesn't ask for permission. It arrives with a silent, undeniable message that whispers, "I am not here to perform. I am here to be real." In a world of carefully constructed masks and social roles, this level of raw authenticity is magnetic and unforgettable. People may not remember your name or what you said. Still, they will carry with them the distinct memory of how your presence made them feel powerful, calm, deeply curious, or perhaps even inexplicably threatened by a truth they were not ready to face. Number 2. You trigger. Shadows in others. Have you ever found yourself perplexed by the stark duality of reactions you inspire? Some people immediately sense your presence with a profound familiarity and trust. In contrast, others recoil, erecting invisible walls or cloaking themselves in a subtle hostility that seems to lack a logical origin. Before you condemn yourself or wonder what you did wrong, recognize this fundamental truth. You have done nothing wrong. You are simply being genuine, and in a world that thrives on performance. Your raw authenticity is a quiet revolution. Your presence, in its unapologetic clarity, becomes a flawless, unflinching mirror. It doesn't distort or embellish. It simply reflects the truth of what is. And for many, that reflection is terrifying. It reveals the dust of old resentments they've allowed to settle. The hairline fractures in their composure, and the faint ghosts of the dreams they silenced within themselves years ago. Your honesty disarms their defenses. Your confidence unsettles their insecurities. And your raw energy threatens the very foundation of the masks they have so carefully worn for years. The great psychoanalyst Carl Jung identified this phenomenon with his concept of the shadow, that vast, unlit territory within us where we banish every trait and impulse we reject, suppress, and bury deep in the soil of our unconscious. You, without any conscious effort, are the kind of person who unknowingly brings that shadow hurtling into the light. It is not an act of aggression, but an act of being. The moment your light touches their darkness, discomfort begins. When people who have not done the courageous work of facing their inner world come near you, they feel the profound, energetic, and emotional gap between your self-acceptance and their internal exile. In your presence, their insecurities suddenly have nowhere left to hide. This is when the projections start. They will label you too intense, too much, too confident, or too direct. But these words are not about you. They are a panicked confession, a frantic attempt to shatter the mirror instead of looking into it. What they are truly screaming into the void is, "I am not ready to face my own shadow, and you make it impossible for me to ignore." Please do not hesitate to alleviate their discomfort. You are not responsible for other people's unease. You are only accountable for your healing, and it is that very healing that reveals the areas where others remain hurt. That is not your burden to bear. It is their sacred invitation to grow. Your role is not to shield people from their shadows. Instead, it is to keep shining so they may finally understand that it is safe to look within. You were not born to be agreeable. You were born to be powerful. Number 3. Animals, children, and nature gravitate toward you. Pay attention to the quiet endorsements you receive when the human world isn't watching. Consider the cautious stray cat that, after surveying all other options, chooses your porch to curl up on, or the neighbor's timid dog that approaches you with a soft, trusting gaze. Think of the unfiltered honesty of a child in a crowded store who, having never met you, breaks into a wide, effortless smile, a moment of pure connection that bypasses all social formality. These are not random coincidences. They are the sacred language of energy. Unlike humans, we're often conditioned to judge by the superficial metrics of appearance, achievement, or social status. The natural world does not fall for such illusions. Animals, children, and nature itself operate on a primal, more truthful frequency. They do not hear your carefully chosen words. They perceive the raw, unfiltered data of your vibration. They possess an innate wisdom that senses whether your energy is pure or polluted, instantly discerning whether your presence is a safe harbor or a chaotic storm. When your aura is authentic, grounded, and rooted in a profound calm, these untainted beings respond with elemental trust and an unspoken sense of peace. An animal does not require a complex explanation to recognize that a heart is kind. A child needs no credentials to know, with absolute certainty, that a presence feels warm and secure. Even the wilder elements seem to harmonize with your frequency. Nature does not demand a performance. Simply and gracefully aligns with those who carry deep, resonant stillness within their soul. In a modern world filled with digital noise, forced smiles, and the exhausting static of constant performance, your authentic energy becomes a sanctuary. You are the quiet stillness in a society addicted to stimulation. the gentle alignment in an energy field crowded with chaos. This is why animals feel safe enough to draw near, and why children offer their trust so freely. Your aura doesn't scream for attention. It simply exists in truth, and that truth becomes the most potent and inviting language on earth. Never underestimate this subtle validation. The way a dog instinctively relaxes in your presence, or how a small child reaches for your hand without hesitation, these gestures reveal more about the quality and integrity of your soul than any applause from the human crowd ever could. They serve as the purest testament to your connection, wholeness, and undeniable authenticity. Number 4. You intimidate without trying. You enter a space with no intention of commanding it. You do not walk in to prove a point or seek validation from the crowd. Your movements are not loud, and your gaze is not challenging. You carry yourself with the quiet dignity of calm eyes, a steady breath, and an unshakable presence that is entirely your own. Yet, the moment you arrive, the atmosphere shifts palpably. A nervous energy ripples through the room as people unconsciously straighten their postures. Laughter becomes a little too loud, and conversations a little too frantic. As a deep, unnamed unease settles over them, even though you have not offered a single word. This occurs because, in a world conditioned to equate noise with strength, your profound silence becomes an unintentional power move. In a culture obsessed with polished appearances and carefully managed facades, your raw authenticity registers as a silent, potent threat. You are not trying to be intimidating. You do not puff your chest or fake bravado, but you do not hide yourself either. That simple act of unapologetic existence is enough to shake insecure people to their very core. For a person who has not made peace with who they are, your presence serves as a form of exposure. By simply being authentic in a space filled with masks, you unveil the artifice without uttering a single word of judgment. They can sense it. This is why they build walls, or why their smiles suddenly seem off. Deep down, at a level they may not consciously acknowledge, they know you see through the performance. Your stillness conveys a powerful message that their soul comprehends. I've done the work. Your very energy whispers a truth they may have forgotten. I know who I am. For those who haven't even begun their healing journey, this kind of presence feels like immense pressure, like being caught under a spotlight. It is a quiet storm sweeping through the carefully staged theater of their lives. Consequently, they fidget, force smiles, and desperately fill the silence with noise because they cannot bear to sit with what your presence brings to the surface in them. Understand this: you are not the villain in their story. You are the mirror. And while your reflection may intimidate them now, it also holds a silent invitation for them to embrace their authenticity. Therefore, you must not soften your truth or dim your light. The right ones will not perceive a threat. In your peace, they will see a compass guiding them back home to themselves. Number 5. You shift the whole room's energy. Most of the time, you remain unaware of it. You are simply being yourself, calm, grounded, and present. Yet, a subtle but undeniable transformation takes place the moment you enter a room. The very air seems to change its composition. Conversations falter and then restart with a different tone. And postures unconsciously adjust as the entire energy of the space recalibrates around you, all without a single word from you. You may find yourself wondering why people suddenly grow quiet, look at you longer, or even fumble over their words. The answer is simple and profound. You didn't just walk in. Your frequency did. This is not a display of power through dominance or a performance of charisma. It is the quiet physics of vibrational presence. It is not about what you do, but about what you fundamentally are, a walking field of truth, a moving reflection of pure alignment. Your aura speaks a language older than words, and the world listens even if it doesn't understand why. There is something ancient and timeless that you carry. An energy holding symbols, archetypes, and echoes from lineages long forgotten. People cannot explain this resonance, but they feel it deep in their bones. It stirs something ancestral and spiritual within them, as if a long-lost memory of power or purpose has suddenly been awakened from a deep slumber. You may walk in like a gentle breeze, but you shift the space like a quiet storm, not loud or aggressive, but utterly undeniable. This is the natural law of resonance. When your soul is deeply rooted in truth, your presence automatically and effortlessly rearranges anything that does not align. In this transformed field, people suddenly feel seen in ways they may not have been prepared for. Some experience a profound sense of safety, while others think they are terrifyingly exposed. Some are magnetically drawn in, while others are shaken to their core. You become more than just a person in the room. You become a living mirror, a portal, a powerful reminder of what is real. So when you notice people reacting strangely, understand this: you did not disturb the room. You revealed what was already there. You are a being who shifts frequencies, awakens truths, and brings the unseen to the surface. This is not something you do. It is something you irrevocably are. Number 6. You read people without words. You walk into a room, and instantly something strikes you. On the surface, everything seems normal. Everyone's smiling. The conversation flows, and there is a facade of perfect harmony. Yet, your internal senses register a profound dissonance. Deep down, you know that something isn't right. You can feel the unspoken tension hanging in the air and the strain of false harmony behind the forced laughter. Someone's energy does not match their words. This is not paranoia or an overactive imagination. It is a state of being deeply, unshakably aware. You'd need to wait for people to explain themselves because, on an energetic level, you have already felt what they are too afraid to say. You perceive the subtle cues that others miss, the fleeting uneasiness in someone's posture that betrays their confident words, the momentary flash of insecurity that flickers in their eyes behind a hollow compliment, and the sudden, almost imperceptible shift in vocal tone that reveals their true feelings. You pick it all up without even trying. It is as if you are fluent in an invisible language, one composed not of grammar, but of body cues, micro-expressions, and emotional frequencies. The psychoanalyst Carl Jung gave this a name: symbolic perception, a form of deep, intuitive intelligence that reads energy long before it processes speech. This extraordinary perception is not merely a mystical gift bestowed at random. It is the natural and direct result of doing your inner work. When your aura is clear and uncluttered, your perception inevitably sharpens. You begin to sense the emotional weather of others, not from the script they recite, but from the raw truth that their soul leaks into the atmosphere. This is why you feel the silent grief behind a wide grin, notice the sharp sting of envy hidden within praise, and sense the raging storm behind a quiet, dismissive, "I'm fine." This profound awareness makes it nearly impossible to engage in surface-level small talk anymore. You find yourself craving depth and truth with an intensity that makes shallow masks feel suffocating. People may call you intense or too much, but what you are is energetically honest in a world that often is not, while others are busy listening. To carefully chosen words, you are tuned into the silent frequency beneath them, usually understanding people on a level they didn't even grasp themselves. Number 9. Your silence is louder than their noise. In a world that equates volume with victory, you have learned a lesson that most people never will. Silence is power. You do not raise your voice, interrupt, or feel the need to dominate the room. This impassivity, it is a profound form of strength. Your silence doesn't whisper, it roars. You didn't fight to be heard because you have nothing to prove. And you didn't beg to be understood because you are already at peace with yourself. And so, while the world scrambles desperately for attention, applause, and approval, you sit still, grounded, present, and utterly unshaken. This stillness is a language in itself, and it conveys more than 1,000 shouted words ever could. It broadcasts a clear, unwavering message. I'm not here to perform. I didn't need to prove my worth. I am listening, I am watching, and I see everything. It is this last part that terrifies people because most of the talk is specifically designed to cover up their fear. They get loud when they feel insecure, filling every available space with noise because the vacuum of silence exposes them to themselves. You, however, have made peace with the quiet. In fact, you are the silent. Your silence is not passive or empty. It is an active, powerful force. It confronts, challenges, and reveals theorem's truth. It applies gentle yet immense pressure that TNT. Any ruby kiss, only ruby kiss, has the luxurious texture that glides AC and leaves on the wooby kiss, sever live, and leaves a rich, long-lasting color. It can floods it, so long quote, we have played sklavs, my levy case. It conflades, it kais, it be prize, my realize, my leasent. It ikive, ikakads be call, by sobetsis, I co-bed, co-wide so might, compels people to engage themselves, face the very things their chatter aims to evade. Of course, many will misinterpret this power for something else. They may label your silence as arrogance or assume you are distant, aloof, and unbothered. In reality, you are tuned into a different frequency, one that understands true power descent need to make noise to be felt by the time the noise starts. Your work is already done. Your aura has already spoken. Your energy has already entered, and your presence has already shifted the space. While others are still trying to become the loudest voice, you have already become the deepest presence. So continue to stay quiet, not out of fear, but out of a profound mastery. Because when your silence carries the undeniable weight of truth, even the noisiest crowd eventually goes quiet. Number 10. You attract the real and repel the fake. Instantly, when it comes to you, there is no lukewarm reception, no comfortable middle ground. The reaction you elicit is immediate and absolute. People will either lean into your presence, feeling magnetically drawn to your energy, or they will run, avoiding you like a reflection in a mirror they have spent years refusing to face. The most profound part of this phenomenon is that a warrant, even trying to do it. You exist as your raw, grounded, and unfiltered self, and in doing so, your very energy becomes a natural, effortless filter for the souls you encounter. For some, meeting you feels like a homecoming. They feel instantly and deeply seen, not for the person they pretend to be, but for the soul they genuinely are. In your presence, they feel safe, accepted, and profoundly understood, perhaps for the very first time in their lives. This is because your presence judge, it invites. Your energy offers a silent, sacred invitation that says, come as you are, not as you are expected to be. For others, however, the experience is entirely different. They feel exposed, uncomfortable, and intensely triggered. This is because the version of themselves that you see through your clear lens is the very one they have spent a lifetime hiding. You do not speak the language of fakeness, so when people approach you wearing masks of performance and manipulation, your aura quietly and firmly says, no, thanks. Energy never lies, and while they may not consciously understand their unease, their soul knows you are not someone who tolerates the inauthentic. This is the law of resonance in action. You repel what is not aligned, and you attract what is real. It is not because you believe you are better or because you are cold. It is because you have worked too hard to protect your peace, and your soul simply no longer has space for anything that threatens its integrity. Your energy field becomes a gatekeeper, declaring, "Only the true may enter." This polarity is your sacred gift, your internal compass, and your invisible shield. It saves you from betrayal, spares you from wasted time, and unerringly draws in the rare souls who can meet you at your authentic depth. So, if people fall away from you without an apparent reason, let them go with grace. It wasn't rejection. It was resonance doing its sacred job. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to be found by the real ones. Number 11, you carry a warrior's calm. There is a profound stillness you carry. A warrior's calm that has nothing to do with a life devoid of struggle. You feel no need to brag or flex your strength because the way you sit in silence speaks with more authority than most people's shouting ever could. Your calm is not passive. It is not the untested peace of someone who has never been challenged. It is the forged, unbreakable calm of someone who has been through hell and it didn't just survive, but consciously evolved. You have faced storms designed to break you and walked through nights so dark that your breath felt like thunder in your chest. Most importantly, you have sat alone with your shadows, not to run from them or to fight them, but to understand them. You have learned the grueling art of inner warfare. And in that sacred, silent crucible, you have died and been reborn mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And now, your peace is your power. It serves as the source of the grounded energy that can either calm a chaotic room or shake an inauthentic one to its foundations. You didn't need to prove you are strong, because you are strong. Having faced the deepest and most terrifying parts of yourself without flinching. People instinctively sense this earned power. Some respect it deeply, seeing the quiet depth in your eyes and thinking to themselves, "This person has been through something." They feel safe near you and listen more closely when you speak, knowing your words carry the weight of experience. Others, however, view it with trepidation. Their fear stems from a lifetime of experiencing power that resounds with force rather than power that resonates with calm. They struggle to grasp how someone so tranquil can possess such strength, how someone so gentle can be utterly unshakable. Never confuse your softness with weakness. Your restraint is an immense form of strength. Your stillness is a conscious strategy. Your peace is the hard-fought result of every single battle you've faced and triumphed in, often without anyone being aware. A warrior's composure like yours is rare because it is earned, not bestowed. You no longer require a sword. You have become the weapon, honed by pain, refined by wisdom, and driven by an undeniable truth. Number 12, you heal without trying. You possess a remarkable ability to heal effortlessly. You don't need to say the perfect thing, nor do you require a title, a label, or a therapist's license to do this work. It is an unconscious offering, a natural byproduct of your being. When people are around you, they feel lighter, calmer, more seen, and more like themselves. It is your energy that does the work for them. It silently creates a sacred space, an invisible sanctuary that broadcasts a clear message. You didn't have to pretend here. You can exhale now. You're safe. Most people walk around with invisible wounds, their hearts heavy with unspoken burdens, and their smiles masking countless internal struggles. But when they enter your presence, something profound within them relaxes. The masks begin to crack. The carefully constructed walls start to crumble, and perhaps for the first time in a long time, they feel as if they can be. This is your medicine. It is not found in your words, but in what you embody, a stillness, a depth, and a frequency of truth that reaches people where words never could. But this healing has a powerful duality, because your energeto isn't just soothe, it awakens. You make people feel safe, yes, but you also encourage them to think profoundly. And when someone is truly seen, their carefully constructed illusions begin to crumble. Their lies can no longer thrive in the pure air of your authenticity, and their unhealed stories start to shake and rise to the surface for acknowledgement. For them, this can be terrifying. While you heal effortlessly, you also challenge without intention. You trigger reflection, bring truths to the surface, and inspire people to drop their facades, even when they aren't quite ready to confront what lies beneath. This is why some will thank you for transforming their lives, while others may retreat in fear. Yet, no one leaves your presence unchanged. Healing Distal always feel gentle. At times, it feels like being cracked wide open, and your presence has a remarkable way of doing that, gently yet irrevocably. Understand your gift. You weren't born to fix people. Instead, you were born to remind them of their innate power. By simply being who you are, you help people remember who they are, too. And that is the rarest form of healing of all. Number 7. Small talk drains you. You stand in a circle of people. A polite smile fixed on your face as you nod at all the right moments, but deep inside, a profound and wearying exhaustion sets in, a feeling that goes far beyond simple boredom. This is not the fatigue of shyness, nor is it the discomfort of being antisocial. It is a soul-level depletion, the distinct sensation that every meaningless word being exchanged chips away at the very essence of your spirit. The endless chatter about office drama, fleeting celebrity gossip, or the mundane details of someone's day physically drains you. For you, these empty conversations are not just dull. They are a form of static in your frequency, a grating noise that feels utterly suffocating. While engaged in this superficiality, you may feel yourself growing physically distant and emotionally numb, as your very being recoils from the dissonance. This is because your spirit wasn't designed for this kind of hollow exchange. You were built to tune into a clear signal, and this is nothing but noise. Your energy field craves substance with a hunger that cannot be satisfied by pleasantries. You don't want to talk about people. You want to engage with them about their dreams, their wounds, their purpose, and their deepest fears. You yearn to know what truly keeps them up at night and what secret passion sets their soul on fire. You want real and you need honest because your very presence calls for the presence of others. In a world that so often runs on autopilot interactions, you were born to feel, to connect truly, and to awaken. You didn't want conversations that merely skim the surface. Your soul demands to dive deep into the heart of things, into the pain, the joy, and the unvarnished truth. This may make you seem different, and some people may label you as intense, too serious, or hard to talk to. But the ones who are truly awake will feel the magnetic pull of your depth. And when you finally find those rare souls who speak the same unspoken language, the conversation that unfolds is effortless. It feels like coming home. So, no, you are not antisocial. You are profoundly allergic to the fake. You aren't made to blend in with the noise. You were made to echo truth in a world that is starving for meaning. Number 8. People project their darkness onto you. Your light is not loud or boastful. You didn't walk around trying to prove anything. Yet, when you enter a room, you feel an immediate and often negative shift in the behavior of certain people. Their energy changes, their tone cools, and you are left with the bewildering question, what did I do wrong? Here is the truth, and you must hold it close. You did nothing wrong. Your presence disrupted something they were desperately trying to keep hidden. When your light shines with unwavering clarity, it inevitably disturbs the comfortable darkness where they have been trying to ignore their wounds. Not everyone is ready to confront what festers in their shadows, and you become the unwilling mirror that makes those shadows impossible to escape. So, what do? They project. They lash out with sudden hate, wrap themselves in a cloak of cold silence, or poison the atmosphere with subtle jealousy. They meticulously twist your words, actively doubt your intentions, and even mock your very spirit. Know that this is not a reaction to who you truly are, but instead to what you unconsciously represent to them. In their world of performance, you are a walking truth bomb. Your very existence challenges the act and interrupts the illusion. You carry an energy that cannot be manipulated, and for those who live in a state of self-deception, this is profoundly terrifying. They look at you and feel utterly exposed because, in your presence, they sense everything they have desperately suppressed, and in your eyes, they see everything they have buried. Without lifting a finger, you trigger their inner storm. Beware, especially, of those who come close while wearing admiration like a costume, drawn to your light and hoping to bask in it. When they realize you will not shrink for them or play their games, that admiration quickly sours into a sharp, bitter resentment. Do not let their reaction change you. Do not start questioning your worth simply because someone else could not face theirs. You are not responsible for their projection. You are only accountable for staying aligned with your truth. Remember this always: the brighter the flame, the sharper the shadows it casts. You are never meant to dim your light to make others feel safe in their darkness. You are here to wake them up, and sometimes that means they will run from you long before they are ready to rise. Let them. Your purpose is not to be liked. It is to be real. Number 13. You were born to disturb what's fake. You have likely felt it your entire life. That's strange. Palpable tension that fills rooms where everyone is pretending. You've navigated the minefields of fake smiles, forced conversations, and painfully shallow dynamics, and deep inside, you knew you didn't belong there. This was not because you were flawed or broken, but because you were never meant to blend in. You were born to stand out, not through effort, but by simply standing in your truth. You weren't designed to be polite in the face of lies, nor were you made to shrink yourself to keep others comfortable in their illusions. Your purpose is far grander. You came here to wake people up, to shake the very foundations of systems built on falsehood, and to call the soul back home, Evan, if that means becoming the quiet storm they never saw coming. Your aura, in its raw power, doesn't just glow, it disrupts. It enters a space quietly, but like a powerful tuning fork, it rearranges the entire frequency of the room. This is because your truth reveals what's fake merely by existing. It explains why some people love you instantly while others cannot stand you, often without knowing why. Your authentic energy threatens anything built on performance, and your very presence stirs what has long been asleep. In this context, you didn't allow lies to breathe easily or masks to sit comfortably. You didn't need to call them out. You just are. And that is enough to make the inauthentic feel seen, exposed, and deeply unstable. You embody something rare, something wild, something tangible, and in a manufactured world. Real is dangerous. It threatens comfort zones, challenges conformity, and poses risks to anyone hiding from their reflection. You were not born to be a neutral force in the world. You were born to be transformational. And true transformation does occur through polite agreement and small talk. It happens through the kind of disruption your energy naturally provides. So don't dull your edge. Don't soften your fire. Your sacred task is to disturb the fake, not to make peace with it. Understand that each time your aura collides with an illusion, truth wins. And the world, now more than ever, desperately needs more of that victory, more of you. Conclusion: let this be understood with absolute clarity. What you have perceived as a flaw, being too intense, too much, too real, is not a weakness. It is your most incredible power and your most sacred purpose. You were not born to be palatable background noise. You were born to be a disruptive, transformational force. Stop apologizing for the weight of your presence. Stop editing your truth to fit into spaces that were designed to contain you. The tension you create is not a sign of your failure, but a signal of your function. You are the storm that clears the air. You are the mirror that forces a confrontation with the soul. Your role is not to protect people from their shadows. It is to shine so brightly that they are finally invited to face their own. Let them stare. Let them whisper. Let them misunderstand. Their awakening is not your burden to bear. Your energy was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to be felt, loud, raw, and honest. You are the wake-up call this sleeping world needs. Your purpose was never to be liked. It was to be real. Your mission was never to blend in. It was to help the world remember the truth. Now, go and fulfill it.